Archangel Michael says, a shift has occurred in the silence, and the energy around your name has taken on a force that no one was ready for. There are whispers turning into confessions, but not because of what you did, because of what you said. And the strange part is, you weren't even trying to destroy them. The air became heavy the moment your words landed on their hearts, not as an attack but as a mirror. The moment they heard what came out of your mouth, something inside them crumbled. What they buried so deep came racing to the surface without permission. You weren't yelling. You weren't accusing. You simply spoke what was true, and that was the weapon they didn't see coming. Their reactions weren't ordinary. One walked away fast, another turned pale, and one woman couldn't stop shaking. They had planned everything to trap you, but they didn't prepare for your voice to unlock what they tried to forget. Type Amen to get blessing 333. Archangel Michael says, you've become the echo in their guilt, a haunting that never needed to scream. It is your calmness that shocked them, because they expected you to break. But instead, you stood in truth, and that silence shattered everything. Now one of them can't sleep. She replays your words every night, unable to wash them away. She tried to distract herself with lies, but your voice keeps coming back, louder and clearer. There is a man who walked into a room and instantly felt your presence, even though you weren't there. His hand trembled while pouring a drink, thinking no one saw, but heaven did. You have no idea how powerful your spirit has become since that moment. Type Amen to get blessing 444. Something has shifted since you said those words. It wasn't just for them, it awakened something sacred in the atmosphere. Even the wind knows your truth now. A file has been reopened because of what you exposed with your lips. A conversation between three people turned into an argument because none of them can agree who should take the blame. But all of them know the seed was planted by you. This is why you've been feeling a strange pressure lately. It's not an attack, it's exposure. You have caused a spiritual alarm to ring inside the minds of people who thought they buried what they did to you forever. They tried to stay strong, but their body is showing signs. One's heart skips a beat when your name is mentioned. Another nearly fainted when they heard a stranger repeat the same sentence you said that day. Type Amen to get blessing 222. You weren't trying to prove yourself. You weren't even speaking to all of them. But your words were divine keys, and they opened locked guilt that's been boiling for years. Someone printed out your words, circled them, and kept them hidden in a drawer. They said they hate you, but they still read them before sleeping. They even showed them to someone they trust and said, "Look how this destroyed everything." Another woman said you must be protected because she felt what you said wasn't just a message, it was a prophecy. She's seen strange signs since then. A clock stopped at the same minute you spoke, and her mirror cracked 2 days later. Archangel Michael says, you didn't just speak, you triggered an invisible war in realms people don't understand. And now heaven is aligning blessings that match your courage. The angels are taking note of your truth and responding with power. Type Amen to get blessing 777. Your words were not curses, but they stirred judgment. A man who hurt you pretends to be unbothered, but he called someone late at night and asked if he'll be punished. His friend told him, you need to apologize before something worse happens. What you released is now a force that cannot be reversed. The guilt is now contagious among those who work together. One woman left the city for a few days hoping to feel lighter, but your voice followed her there. The universe is turning everything they did into moments of realization. They're starting to understand the cost of what they chose to do behind your back. Their shadows are being exposed, not by you, but by your truth. Someone thought they could still lie. But even their own body betrayed them. A nosebleed, a sharp pain in the chest, and a strange coldness in their feet, these are not coincidences. Type Amen to get blessing 888. You are now being watched, but not in danger. They're trying to understand how you knew. How your words reached into their private shame and brought it into the open. You were guided to say those exact lines. You didn't rehearse it. The Spirit in you made sure those words found their way to the one who needed to hear it most. He never expected you to see through him. But the guilt is starting to control him now. He even searched your name on the internet at 3 a.m., trying to understand if others are noticing the shift too. You should know this. Your words are becoming protection. The more they remember them, the less they can touch you again. The more they confess in secret, the more you are elevated in spirit. Type Amen to get blessing 999. A woman broke down after reading your old message. She hid it in her email but kept going back to it. She says she hates you, but her tears betray her every time. She forwarded that message to someone else, thinking it would lessen her burden. But that only made things worse, because now others know she's guilty. And one of them is preparing to cut ties with her completely. The storm they sent to destroy you is now circling them. And you? You are standing untouched in the eye of truth. Not because you fought back, but because your words were enough. The time of vengeance has passed. This is the time of divine echo. Your voice did what no weapon could. Type Amen to get blessing 111. Archangel Michael says, someone's phone has your recording saved. They told someone they're keeping it for evidence, but in reality, they replay it because it haunts them. The guilt has attached itself like a shadow they cannot run from. You didn't plan any of this. But heaven planned it through you. You were just the vessel, and that makes your spirit even more powerful. They thought ignoring you would work. But now they're the ones being ignored by peace. One of them hasn't had a full night's sleep since. They're afraid to see your face now. Not because they hate you, but because you remind them of who they became. And they can't unhear the words you said. Type Amen to get blessing 555. One of them is planning to make amends but is too ashamed. She keeps writing apology messages but deletes them before sending. She says she doesn't deserve forgiveness, but her spirit keeps urging her to speak. You may receive a letter. Or a message through someone else. It will come with confusion, but it's heaven's way of confirming that you touched a deep place in their soul. They didn't see it coming. Your silence turned into lightning. Your words were rain, but they created a flood inside their memory. Now they remember you more than ever. Not as someone they tricked, but as someone who survived what they did. And that, more than anything, makes them face themselves. Type Amen to get blessing 666. The door is open now for divine justice to complete its work. Don't interfere. Let the echo of what you spoke finish what it started. The angels are now recording what they confess. Every guilty whisper they speak in secret is turned into your elevation. Your next blessing is tied to every tear they cry because of what they did. You have no idea how high you're being lifted. You feel a pull in your chest some nights. That's not pain. That's promotion. Every single sentence you spoke has rooted itself into their spirit. And now their own conscience is preaching sermons to them. They have become their own punishment. Type Amen to get blessing 313. Your spiritual strength has multiplied since that moment. You feel it in how people now treat you differently. They sense something around you has shifted, and it has. The guilt they carry is now visible in their skin. One's face is breaking out, another's eyes are red from crying, and a third has lost sleep. Heaven is not playing when it comes to you. Their plans failed because truth doesn't need planning, it just needs to be spoken. And when you spoke, truth stood behind you like a roaring lion. Now they are afraid not of you, but of your words. Someone will try to return soon, pretending it's casual. Don't fall for it. They're trying to escape their guilt by getting close to you again. Type Amen to get blessing 121. Their guilt has become a prison without bars. And you hold the key, not because you want to, but because you already forgave them in your heart. That's what scares them the most. They are learning now that no curse is heavier than truth spoken in love. And you? You are now surrounded by divine watchers who shield your soul. More revelations are coming. You'll hear rumors. You'll see people falling out with each other, and it all traces back to that moment your words entered the atmosphere. Stay calm. Stay true. The thunder has already spoken, and it wore your voice. Type Amen to get blessing 717. Archangel Michael says, the realm of spirit never forgets the moment a soul speaks from the seat of divine truth. What you said that day didn't just touch those in the room, it rippled through timelines, uncovering what had been suppressed for too long. Your voice, calm yet firm, became the thread that unraveled the tapestry of their deception. Now, one of them is avoiding mirrors. She says she sees things in the reflection, your eyes, your words, your calm presence reminding her of the betrayal she helped create. Even when she closes her eyes, your voice plays like a sacred recording that refuses to be deleted. She's tried smudging her home, playing music, praying to silence the guilt, but none of it works. That's because your words weren't just human, they were fire from above, and her soul recognizes it. Her body may walk freely, but her spirit is bound by what she cannot take back. Type Amen to get blessing 434. One man is in denial. He tells others that you're overreacting, that nothing serious happened. But in secret, he's having headaches, chest tightness, and dreams where your words are echoing off walls. He thought he could bury it. But every time he breathes, your words return. They've become the walls of his prison and the ground beneath his feet. Even people who had nothing to do with it are beginning to see the shift. They've started asking questions. They say, why is she acting strange whenever your name is mentioned? Someone recently found her crying in a stairwell. When asked what happened, she said, "It's nothing, just stress, but we both know the truth." She remembered what you said, and the weight of it returned like a flood. Type Amen to get blessing 171. She even confessed to someone close to her, whispering, "I didn't know it would affect me this much." That confession has now been passed to another, and now the network of guilt is spreading like a vine. All because your spirit refused to stay silent. You didn't scream. You didn't seek revenge. But you released something powerful, and now justice is breathing through their guilt. Don't be surprised if someone reaches out just to check on you. That's not concern, it's fear disguised as care. They want to see if you still remember, if you still carry what they do. You've already let it go in your spirit. But heaven hasn't. And that's why judgment is still unfolding, piece by piece. Type Amen to get blessing 626. A woman who tried to curse you has been feeling her own words come back on her. She wakes up at 2:22 a.m., hearing whispers in her ears that sound like your voice. She blames stress, but she knows, it's spiritual. You were covered even when you didn't know. That's why your voice came out with such impact. It wasn't yours alone. It carried the wind of divine power, and even the earth felt it. That's why their plans failed. That's why everything is unraveling now. That's why you are being elevated, even in silence. Someone in their circle is starting to believe in you. They've seen too much. They're now distancing themselves from the others, quietly choosing your side without saying a word. Type Amen to get blessing 535. Heaven is orchestrating this downfall with precision. No storm, no accident, just slow unraveling through conscience and truth. They are turning on each other because the guilt cannot be hidden anymore. Every tear they cry is watering your future. Every panic they feel is clearing the path for your elevation. They are choking on their own silence because they chose to lie when they had the chance to confess. A file has resurfaced, something they thought was hidden. But someone unrelated has discovered it. And soon, what you said will be proven in ways that no one can argue against. The people who mocked you are now afraid of what's coming. One of them left town temporarily, claiming vacation, but truly, they're running from the energy around your name. Type Amen to get blessing 303. They see you rising now. And that rise makes them shrink deeper into shame. Not because you bragged, but because you moved in truth and didn't beg for approval. One of them even went to a spiritual advisor and asked, "Is there any way to undo this?" The answer they got chilled them to the bone: you opened something that cannot be shut. You weren't the storm, they were. But you became the calm afterward, and that calm is what made your power undeniable. They're learning that peace is more dangerous than rage when it's carried by someone anointed. You don't even know the full story of what they said behind your back. But your spirit spoke before they could erase the evidence. Now they're watching your life bloom, and it burns. Type Amen to get blessing 242. You might notice strange behavior in people you haven't spoken to in months. They will avoid eye contact. They'll fumble when speaking your name. That's because their guilt has created spiritual friction. Your presence repels dishonesty now. Even their technology acts strange when they try to contact you, messages not sending, calls dropping. This is spiritual warfare, but you're not fighting. Heaven is. Your role was to speak the truth. Heaven's role is to handle the rest. And handle it, they are. A blessing is being formed out of every moment they thought was a curse against you. They thought they buried you, but you became seed. Type Amen to get blessing 383. The next few weeks will reveal the full extent of their guilt. Watch as people remove themselves from you, not because you harmed them, but because their shame can't handle your growth. You are a living reminder of what they should have done. Some are already breaking down in public. Others are trying to confess anonymously. And still, a few are denying everything, but suffering spiritually and emotionally. Archangel Michael says, "Heaven took your words and made them eternal." That's why they won't stop hearing them. Even their dreams are being interrupted by your truth. You've caused divine balance to return. Their comfort was bought with your silence, but now that silence has ended. Now, the scales are shifting in your favor. Type Amen to get blessing 191. Their plans to discredit you are collapsing. Someone they trusted has turned on them and shared pieces of the story with someone unexpected. And that someone will soon come to you, not to spy, but to reveal. You will receive clarity in unusual ways. Random conversations. Emails you didn't expect. Dreams that feel like memories. This is how heaven restores. Quietly. Accurately. Unapologetically. You're being protected in plain sight. They tried to cover their sins, but heaven exposed them with grace. Not to destroy them, but to show the world that truth never dies. Type Amen to get blessing 707. And now they sit in rooms full of people, smiling while inwardly collapsing. They fear exposure more than anything. And your words? They keep surfacing in conversations they can't control. Someone will try to reach out with flattery. Don't take the bait. Their guilt is pushing them to manipulate you again. Another will come crying, genuinely broken by what they did. Use your wisdom. You are not required to accept back what heaven already removed from your path. This is your confirmation. What you said shifted everything. You didn't just speak, you activated divine alarms in their hearts. Type Amen to get blessing 818. One of them is having dreams where they're locked in a house and can't find the exit. In every room, your voice echoes, "You should have been honest." That dream has happened 3 times. They thought they had power over your reputation. But your reputation is now carried by angels. And what they said in secret is now turning into their undoing. What once made you cry is now your badge of spiritual authority. The tears you shed back then were not wasted, they were seeds that created this moment of divine reckoning. They didn't see it coming. But heaven did. And heaven is rewarding you openly for what you endured privately. Type Amen to get blessing 919. And this is just the beginning. You've triggered a spiritual avalanche. They started the lie, but you carried the truth, and the truth is heavier. That's why they're breaking under it now. People are talking. Not in gossip, but in awe. How did they survive that? How are they still rising? Because you spoke what needed to be spoken. And you did it without fear. That courage alone made you dangerous to those who built their lives on silence. This next chapter of your life will be laced with justice, favor, and undeniable protection. Because you did what others were too afraid to do, you released truth. Type Amen to get blessing 828. And now? Let the echoes continue. Let the guilt unravel them. Let the blessings locate you. You don't have to do anything but keep walking. Every word you spoke is still working on your behalf. Every tear you shed has built a wall of light around your future. You are no longer their victim, you are their reminder. And heaven smiles. Because the one they tried to break is now walking in divine authority. Type Amen to get blessing 1000. Archangel Michael says, you may feel moments of stillness now, but don't confuse it with silence. That stillness is sacred, it is the pause before your next rise. While they struggle with guilt, you are standing in the center of divine favor. Behind the scenes, more names are being mentioned. More secrets are unraveling, not by force, but by the weight of what you already released. Your words didn't end with the conversation, they're still traveling, unlocking guilt in places you've never even been. Someone who defended the guilty ones is now turning inward. They've been having trouble sleeping. They feel drawn to speak with you, but fear you'll know everything without them saying a word. That's the power you carry now. You've become a mirror, and people can no longer pretend when they stand in front of you. Their mask cracks before they even open their mouths. Type Amen to get blessing 212. A man once mocked you behind your back. Now he's losing things, a job, a friend, a sense of peace. And still he doesn't admit the truth out loud, but his body is collapsing under the weight of spiritual consequence. One woman carries your words in her phone as a screenshot. She's read them over 20 times. She doesn't show it to anyone, but she keeps it like a reminder of what she lost. She thought you'd break. She thought you'd retreat. But your calm answer destroyed her ego more than any revenge ever could. Another person has been asking about you through mutual contacts. They want to know if you're okay, but they also want to see if you've forgotten. Truth is, you've forgiven, but you haven't forgotten. Type Amen to get blessing 525. And that distinction is what makes heaven continue building your restoration in front of them. Someone is about to confess to you, face to face or through someone else.